Most people want to hop in the bed. You don't even know my middle name. You don't know my favorite color. You don't even know what book I'm reading right now. But yet you want to be so intimate with me, and I'm just not with that. Welcome back to another episode. I'm your host, Jasmine, and today we are talking all about love. Everyone's favorite topic. I keep getting, when are you going to get married? Why aren't you dating? When are you going to have a baby? And there's no one direct answer. I feel like it's a layered answer. And it prompted me to want to do a podcast about it because I'm like, let me share my perspective in the hopes that it helps someone else. So recently I've been rereading All About Love by Bell Hooks. I just love that book. Anytime I just want some insight when it comes to love, I'll pick it up. One of the things that I thought would be good to start with this podcast is talking about what love isn't. I know we see people, stalking social media and that being a big source of a lot of fights and things like that. When I was talking to a friend of mine, I was asking him, what does social media mean to you? Like, do you try to get people's attention? Is it like thirst traps? Like, what do you really use it for? He was just kind of like, I don't feed too much into social media. Most men don't. They kind of just are visual people, so they look into that. But I noticed a lot of women take it to heart. And I'm not gonna lie, back in the day when I was dating people, I used to stalk pages, likes, and seeing and going through all that too. And I had to really get real with myself and be like, Jasmine, what are you doing? I had to look in the mirror like, you are a 10. You don't need to be worried about what he got going on. He needs to be worried about what you got going on. Like, it's motion in your phone too. So why are you so pressed and worried about what he has going on? If his actions are true, if he aligns with what he's saying, you shouldn't have to question. And I had to realize that I was ignoring a lot of the red flags, and that me even feeling like I need to stalk a social media page was my answer right there. Like, if you feel like you have to go through phones, and I don't go through phones, but if you got to go through pages to stalk and what's being told is not aligning, why are you still putting yourself through that torment? Why are you putting yourself in a situation where you don't fully trust your partner? Women, speaking for myself, you want to make your situation work. Like, you want to be with somebody. You want to have a partner. Like, it says in the Bible, it's not good for man to be alone. However, being alone is necessary to learn yourself, love yourself, understand what you really want, and just know that you don't have to settle. As someone who didn't date for about 7 years, people are like, dang, was that hard? And it wasn't as hard as you think. When you start to tap in with God and really love yourself, you start to love your own company and enjoy it. And you really realize, like, a lot of these men that you're entertaining don't deserve your time because they don't want to do anything positive with it. Like, they don't know what to do with you. They're more so in it to get in and out. It's a transactional type of relationship. I know men are like, women just want to be taken care of and women just want this, that, and the third. Yeah. If you're just coming to get that, I mean, I see why they just want to get a bag or, money or things like that. But that brings me back to my point about love. Nothing is about love. I don't really see the purpose in dating when everything's superficial. To me, love is calm, it's empowering, it's confident, it's safe, it's patient. And I don't mean safe in a like I'm settling type of way, safe in a like, I trust you. I trust what you're saying to me. I trust that you see me. You just have to be yourself when it comes to the right person. You don't have to jump through all these hoops. You don't have to do the most. You just have to be yourself, because the right person's going to see that you respect yourself enough to not look crazy and just be thirsty. People don't really value the art or really understand the art of a slow burn, which to me, I feel like it's a craft. Yes, I want it now, but I also want to let the beat build, let the intensity build, let it get strong. So when you do get to the climax, it's that much greater. Most people want to hop in the bed. You don't even know my middle name. You don't know my favorite color. You don't even know what book I'm reading right now. But yet you want to be so intimate with me, and I'm just not with that. Most women, they will give their bodies and be in situations like this because they do want connection so bad. Like a temporary situation, it leads to like a permanent decision. Now it's a child involved and y'all hate each other. What was meant to be a lesson is now a consequence. Take the time to really get to know yourself and just have better discernment. You'll know to take things to God. I think that's another thing. We're not taking our connections, situations to God. We're just kind of operating off our own will, like our own mind. And it's like, no, God uses people just to position you for better, to get you thinking in a different way, to show you this is possible and that you don't have to settle. And oftentimes we just get caught into, this is my man and you can't have him, and tit for tat, and then you end up hurting yourself. That's not love.
Darlings, love is many things. It's varied. One thing it is not and can never be is unsure.
I was recently rewatching Tyler Perry's Madea Family Reunion, and there was a scene where they were at the family function. They were getting wisdom from like the older aunts, and Maya Angelou was one of them, and she was like, love is many things, but it's never unsure. And that always stuck with me because, facts, it stuck with me because you should never have to question a person's love or intentions for you. My friend's like, you run a strict program, but all that I really require of you is to respect me. Like, that's it. Just respect me. And it sounds so simple, but it's something that most can't do. I feel like they come into the situation with the intent to respect me, but it's too much work. A man's going to do what he wants to do at the end of the day, and you have to move accordingly. I don't believe in cheating. I'm not a cheater. I'll never cheat. Understand that there's a long line waiting for the opportunity for you to mess up. If you feel you can get something better elsewhere, or you're just feeling bored or whatever the case may be, if you don't respect me enough to not jeopardize losing me, it's time for me to go. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not even going to hold you. Do what you want to do. You have free will, but just understand that when you move fast, when you move off of impulse and emotions, you jeopardize losing a good thing. You know, some people see me as like a cutthroat queen, and, you know, I don't play that, I'll cut it off. And yes, I'm learning more to lean into my discernment to understand this is for fun, this is for real, this has a potential for something that could really evolve into something, and to have patience to, you know, work with someone. No one's perfect, including myself. There's areas where I can work on. If I can't come to you when there's a problem where we're both looking for a resolve so that it doesn't happen again, I can't do anything with that. I can't grow with you, and I don't feel safe enough to present an issue. For me, that's my non-negotiable: emotional maturity and emotional security. That's something that I didn't realize was so important in a non-negotiable. I know now that that's something that I can't work without. You have to find what you're willing to stand on, what you're willing to tolerate, because no one's going to be perfect. They're not going to have every single box checked out. They should have the majority of them if that's what you want. But being realistic to meeting someone where they are and to work with them to get to a healthy space. That was one of my things. I was quick to get upset when something happened. And I had to understand, one, men and women think differently. We operate differently. And it takes a minute to learn somebody when you're first dating them. You have to get into a groove of, you like this, you don't like this, you operate like this, you know, to where it's a cohesive flow, to where you're just thriving, you're vibing, more so than dysfunction and constantly blaming somebody. And it's like, no. A lot of people, they have confrontation not to find a healthy resolve. They have confrontation to be heard or to be right. And when it comes to love and to a partnership, you have to be able to put that ego aside, which is another big thing, and be willing to be vulnerable with someone so that they do feel safe with you, feel safe presenting things, and being willing to not always be right so that you can learn and grow and get better. I feel like that's love in the purest form. I saw this tweet and it said, what a woman becomes in your presence will give you the feedback about the type of man that you really are. And I thought that was so real. If I'm constantly anxious or nervous or have anxiety or wondering what you're doing or not really believing what you're telling me is the truth, that shows the type of man that you are. Like, you're moving funny. It shows me as a woman, like, I'm choosing someone that I don't really trust. Whereas if I'm calm in your presence, if I feel inspired, if I feel motivated, if I feel secure, if I feel soft, I feel like that's a good indicator that this is someone that is worth your time and your investment. Pay attention to how you feel and the type of behaviors and the character that's bringing out based on the type of person that you're dating. Because if it's bringing out the worst in you, sis, that's not your man. Like, that's not for you. If I feel soft in your presence, if I want to soften, and as someone that's usually a control freak and always making the plans, always calling the shots. If I could soften up and just like follow your lead, yeah, I'm on that. I want to learn more. I want to know more. A man's place is to lead and set the tone, and a woman's place is to soften and to follow. We're not picking as a whole good men to let us lead. We're not picking God-fearing men, and that sets the standard and the tone of your entire relationship. God has to be the center. For me, at least, I'm not speaking on anybody else. For me, you have to be God-fearing. Like, God needs to be in the center of our relationship, because if we get into a fight, I'm running to God. I'm not running to another woman. And most men, they're running to what's available. And I need a man that's standing on boundaries and standing on his self-control, not to run to the next woman or who is available or who'll entertain him when we're having a disagreement. Where I am now when it comes to dating, I'm looking for someone that will invest in me, invest in my vision, my purpose, my goals. Because I'm so much more than just a beautiful face, a beautiful physique, smart. There's layers to me, and I want someone that will, peel back those layers and have the patience to get to know me. I'm not interested in moving fast. I want to move correctly. I want more people to think like this, to move like this, because we'd have more unions. We'd have more just patience overall, not even just in the love aspect, just patience in general, because you're taking the time to understand where this person is coming from rather than attack mode all the time. I personally feel like if there's something that you want in a person or a partner, that you shouldn't settle. There's too many people settling, and they are bitter because of it. They resent the person. If a child is involved, so many different layers and levels to the consequences of you settling. Those women that are just in a happy, healthy relationship or marriage, the energy that they exude is just different. It's confident, it's poised, it's secure. Like they're not thinking, I gotta go stalk his page, or I gotta constantly check, or I gotta look at the club's story to see if he's there, if I see an elbow. They're not doing all that. They're like, what boss move can I think of to invest in, or to tell my husband to potentially invest in? Like, they're thinking differently. They're moving differently. And I'm in that space now where I want to fill my thoughts with stuff that's conducive to my growth, that's going to make me a better person. I don't want to have to stalk and be insecure or even feel like I need to, because then you got to go. You mess with my peace. And if you can't contribute to what I already got going on or enhance it, what are we really doing? Like, what's the point? That's just how I feel. I want to be with someone that I feel safe enough to lead me, like a God-fearing man that is about his word, about his business, is romantic, gentle, funny, kind, patient, smart, all the things. And I don't feel like I'm being too unrealistic with those expectations. I'm just the type of person that's willing to wait for what I really want. In the meantime, invest that energy into myself and get better. And I just honestly challenge and encourage you to do the same. Instead of being so anxious and overgiving and doing the most and being thirsty, and we've all been there. Well, I'm speaking for myself, I've been there. Now I'm just in a receptive, feminine, soft, dainty, just graceful energy. And I just know that what's for me is going to match that. It will happen. There's still things I can work on when it comes to love. And I can say that I'm open to working with the person that's serious about me. I'm not going to settle. I'm never going to settle. We got one life to live. I want the best possible experience, I wouldn't recommend backtracking. Me personally, I've done it once. It just showed me that I got the lesson and it's time to move on. If you can take the time to apply what you've learned in the past situation so you don't repeat the lesson, that's key, because a lot of us jump from one to the next. We don't take time to be alone and kind of get our minds right. When you apply what you've learned, you set yourself up to experience something better, something different. Love is patient, love is kind, love is true, it is compassionate, it is gentle, it is all the things that I was not allowing myself to receive. It was anxious, and it was suffocating, and it was insecure. And now I just have such a different definition when it comes to the word. So in conclusion, I just honestly want to leave you with a little bit of self-reflection. Where are you when it comes to love? Like, are you in a healthy relationship? Are you in a happy relationship? A toxic situationship? What's the tea? Like, I want to know. Do you feel fulfilled? Do you feel stagnant? Are you still looking for something? Do you feel like I'm quote unquote safe here, but I know that there's more? Do you agree or disagree with some of the things that I've shared today? I want to know your thoughts. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe this video, and I will definitely see you in the next one. Thank you so much for tuning in.